My family was different from the majority of the Cuban families in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, in the sense that they were never part of the system. They were never part of what the American people knows by the revolution or the Cuban Communist Party, and that's a very peculiar characteristic. It's not something that a lot of families did in Cuba, especially not in the last half of the communism in the island. At the beginning, of course, many families were immediately against what was taking place. Many of them were forced to exile. Others were later also forced to exile.
Yeah.
And in the late 80s and in the 90s, the situation was more or less controlled by the regime, but the seek for freedom, the seek for finding your own way in life is something which is merely human.
Human nature.
Exactly. I mean, not even 40 years of communism could take that out of the human nature, take that out of the Cuban people. So that many families in Cuba in that moment and also now still rebel against that oppressive power. My family was one of them. My experience is different to the experience of many of my friends in the high school or in the university, for instance. In some ways, I had it harder because I saw the repudiation acts. I don't know if that's something that the American people understand. Un acto de repudio is something similar to a Nazi pogrom, in which the paramilitaries of the Cuban Communist Party, or trained by the Cuban Communist Party, go to your house and start to scream and attack and sometimes even assault their house and the people that is inside the house. That happened to my family during my childhood.
How old were you?
I was 7 years old. I was not in the house in that moment, so
wow.
I didn't actually leave it. I just remember seeing the signs that they painted in the front of my house, which was a very humble house. I remember those signs. I think that there are pictures in internet with.
So they paint on your house.
Yes, they paint on the door and on the front door and on the front wall of the house also. They paint the word gusano, worm, and they paint also things like Viva Fidel, that kind of things with black painting. That happened to my family. But at the same time, I had an experience of freedom that my friends in high school and in the university didn't. Even when everybody, or at least the most part of them, think like us and saw like us in that moment also, I had the freedom of saying whatever I decided to. I had the freedom of express myself in any way, and my father and my mother, the answer of them to our freedom of expression was, you just say whatever you think, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the answer that my friends in high school received from their parents were, hey, you keep your mouth shut. You keep silence. Everything that you are hearing or thinking inside your house have to be secret. And they forced them to live kind of a double life out of fear. Wow. That was the experience of my friends. in that sense, I was privileged to grow up in the middle of a jail as a free person. That's something that I really appreciate from my family. That's something that I have a lot of gratitude for my parents and my whole family for keeping that for us.